Hi guys, my name is Morgan Raphael. You may know me as Bun Undone on Instagram. Today I am sharing a super fun kind of personal story with you. It's not super relevant in my life anymore because I can safely say I'm in a happy relationship without help of this show, but I am excited to share this story as this whole process was a huge part of my life this summer, and as a Bachelor super fan, it was really interesting to see this side of things. I can kind of share this story and laugh about it, and it's something that I wanted to share with you because I think it's super interesting, and as a fan of the show for years, I know that it's something other people are interested in also, and I wanted to make sure that I shared the entire story of my process within the audition process. To give you a little taste of what it was like. I've actually been a fan of the show since the very beginning. I used to watch it with my mom in her bed with her the very first season, and then years later I participated in fantasy leagues. I got really into it. Still super into it. I honestly can say this past summer for Hannah's season I was more invested than ever, thinking that one of those guys could be the guy whose season I was on. But here I am today in my studio apartment recording the story about how I didn't get on the show, but how I got pretty far, and it kind of changed my life a little bit. So to begin, this is a show that I was honestly kind of interested in being on for years. I was in a relationship before, so obviously it wasn't a consideration, but I was always really intrigued by it, and I can honestly say I am a true hopeless romantic. Like, I love, and it's a show that brings women together and just creates a whole Bachelor Nation family, and I always was super interested by that. Despite having this blog, that had nothing to do with me wanting to participate in this show. I just thought that it was kind of like a good time in my life to say why not, and if it was possible and if the opportunity presented itself, why not go for it? I had nothing to lose. I was living alone, working on my own, like had that flexibility, didn't have my dog anymore, so there was really nothing that I was leaving behind, and why not put myself first and try something different if the opportunity is there? So I had thought about it, and I did end up submitting a nomination for myself, but pro tip, if you know anyone that you want to be on it, it increases your chances tenfold to have someone nominate on their behalf. So I had friends nominate me, and I even had, I think, some followers nominate me because they had asked me for information to make sure they could complete it. And I also had a friend of mine that went through the similar process, and she had told me she got an email from a producer way early on, and I was like, oh my god, so you can get emails from them before you even send in a video and send in all this stuff? So now I was like, that's what I want. Like, I sent in the application, but they don't prompt you to like send in everything else right away. On their website, if you look, it tells you to increase your chances, like send videos, send everything here. But it's a mailing address, like literally to Studio City, Hollywood, or something like that. And I was like, how would I even like make a video, put it on a USB, all that stuff? But I was kind of like, whatever, I'll do it, I don't care. And I'll share the video with you guys, either in this video or in a separate one, depending on how long this ends up being. But I was kind of willing to like dive into it and commit fully. And funny enough, on April 25th, I'm looking at the email right now, I heard from The Bachelor for the first time. So this actually is the exact day of the anniversary of Bun Undone, and I happened to hit, I remember this vividly, 20,000 followers that day. And this is when manifesting becomes real. I took a nap, which I never really do, but I was talking to my mom that day, and I was like, this has honestly been the best day of my entire life. Like, it feels like everything is just showing up in a way that proves that I'm on the right path. I was like, the only thing that would make this day better is if I heard from The Bachelor. And my mom was like, you're not gonna hear from them yet. You haven't sent anything in other than the application. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I wake up from a nap and I get this email. And it says, hey Morgan, I hope this message finds you well. My name is blank, and I'm a casting producer for The Bachelor on ABC. I received a nomination for you, and I would love to be able to consider you for our upcoming season. To get started on the process, please send me the following ASAP. So there's an application, and this is a way longer application. The one online is like 3 questions. It doesn't even ask you for your name. So if you end up moving forward, you don't know who submitted your nominations unless your friends were to like take screenshots before or let you know. So I think a lot of people don't even know unless they have like one friend specifically that tells them they nominated them. It also asked for 5 to 10 recent clear photos. Gave you kind of instructions on that. And then I replied and she mentioned getting on the phone sometime. Anyways, I ended up sending over my application, my photos, my video, which I had already captured in advance, thinking I was gonna have to mail it in. And 2 days later, I got a voicemail, and I can play that voicemail. I took a meditation class at Exhale, and I got out of the class, and I received this call, and I kid you not, I cried in the aisle of Walgreens. I was just like in a state of shock, and at the time, this is really what I wanted, like what I thought I wanted.
Hey, Morgan, Bachelor on ABC. Just wanted to give you a call because I had my casting director watch your video and we would love to move forward with you. So I wanted to call you and congratulate you. I'm going to be sending you a lot of information. So it's going to be something called an LFQ. Everything is going to be, you know, in the email, but I would prefer to go over it with you, you know, kind of explain a few details of it just in case you do come up with any questions. However, so just make sure you do look, you know, look for the email and so forth. It is going to be a lot of attachments with it, but please feel free to give me a call back.
So obviously I cut out the number and some of those details, but I was in shock, and this was the step that they were like, there's gonna be a lot coming your way, and this is the thing you may have heard people talk about that's like all of the deep background check, which yeah, you watch some seasons, you're like, how did they let this person slip through? I can assure you that's probably for drama reasons, because this was like a very, like, it made me think that parking tickets were gonna be an issue. Like, it got me that anxious. But they were basically like, yeah, as long as this looks good, like, plan on being in LA. Like, this is when they really made me think that I was going to be going to the final step, which is in California, like the month before the show starts filming. So they were like, make sure you're available some of these dates. They sent me this huge packet with photos of previous contestants like Rachel Lindsay and Raven and people in it. And it showed how they took their photos in like good light and all of that, which was kind of fun to see. And then the long form questionnaire with it, plus the dates that I needed to make sure I was available. And they were like, we can't like say much right now, but plan on being there. Like, don't get a boyfriend, plan on being there. So this was in May. This was the beginning of May. And at this point I was like, okay, like, I'm just gonna take this time, not date, not do anything. And at this point I really wasn't like totally ready or invested in that anyways. But it started to put my life on hold at this point, and I was seeing a lot of signs present themselves. There was a random rose in my Uber one day, weird stuff like that. I can get more into that. As you guys know, I'm like super into signs and all of that, so crazy stuff. So I sent in my long form questionnaire, and the last step was meeting them in Chicago. So for Chicago, there's a casting call, but they had me show up the day before the casting call, which was people they've already spoken to and had somewhat of an interest in, and versus waiting in the whole line with everyone else. I don't know how many people were there that day, but considering 4 women of this season are from Chicago, I would assume that there was at least like 10, 15. And that day they were like, wear a cocktail outfit. I honestly think more dressed up than I should have looking back on it, but you know what, I felt good. I felt like I was wearing something they would potentially wear to like a cocktail party on the show. And I was told to wear a solid color that stood out. So I get there, it was so relaxed, honestly. Felt like I was in really good hands, and they just asked me questions about my family. They didn't like, there was no deep digging about my past. Like, I don't think that they were, I've heard different stories from other people. I don't think for me that they were looking to cast me as like any sort of like villain or like that type of role. At least I was going for like the wifey if I had a chance or a choice. So they didn't do any like deep digging. They asked me for some bad first date stories or just like funny stories in general. What I'm looking for, what my job is. We just talked about like Chicago when I moved here. I talked about how like my parents are divorced, and then I actually opened up a lot about like some struggles with my family and like things that on the show I'm sure I would have opened up about. I was stunned that I opened up as easily as I did, and I was like, this is how they do it on the show. They just like make you feel comfortable, supported, safe, and you just speak. And and I'm an open book. Like once you get to know me, once you like, I have a couple minutes with you and I trust you, I'm like comfortable sharing a lot. So that happened. Then I left with this shirt, which is like my little souvenir. This bag and this pen, which is actually one of my favorite pens. So now I have a little souvenir. I'll use this when I watch the show. Maybe wear my shirt when I watch the show on Monday coming up. They asked me who I wanted to be the Bachelor, and I honestly wanted it to be Pilot Pete. I like thought that he would be the one I got along with the most, and it's funny how it ended up being him. Basically the way it ended up was after that casting call that was in June, I was like totally just put on, like I didn't hear for months, and I was just constantly waiting, constantly emailing. At one point they kept emailing me back and forth, but it would take like weeks, and I was like waiting around for it all day, I felt like. And at the end I was about to give up, but this is when I like started exploring like dating again potentially, and I got an email that was like, it's not definitely over yet, like you'll hear from the network if you're moving forward. And it was just kind of like, if you're moving forward. And I was like, okay, like I guess I'll wait. And I kept getting all this hope, and then I just never heard from them. So in the end, it didn't end up happening, but I'm still a huge fan of the show. I have no hard feelings about it. I honestly, by that point, didn't know how much I even wanted it anymore. Like after 5 months of going through the process, I just felt like I didn't have as much control over my life as I wanted, and not getting on the show allowed me to have control over my narrative, over what Bun Undone means, without having like opinions and judgments of others decide that for me. And it led me to Will, and I'm as happy as can be in my relationship now. So it definitely worked out, but I just think it's something that I'm so happy I went for, because there was such a curiosity from being a fan, from believing in the process that came, and it was fun. Hi, welcome to my bachelorette mansion where I have 99 roses, but I'm looking for the one. My name is Morgan Raphael. I am a 26-year-old living in Chicago, just waiting for my soulmate. I am a hopeless romantic who is someone that really dives headfirst and dives deep into everything that she does, and I'm ready for this journey to just take a leap of faith and know that it's all gonna work out how it's meant to. So I live in Chicago all on my own in this little palace. It really is a haven for me, and I recently moved into this apartment on my own. It's my first single girl apartment, which I'm super excited about. I am actually originally from southern New Jersey near Philadelphia. I went to Penn State for college, and I moved out here 3.5 years ago, actually, chasing a relationship, so to speak, as well as just looking for a career change and taking a leap. And while that part didn't work out, I could not be happier to be in Chicago now, and it truly all led me here for a reason. So every single day I am so grateful to wake up to this view. The sunrise and sunset are amazing. Yes, it is called the Windy City for a reason, but I am so happy I ended up here 3.5 years ago, and I mean, this is it in all its glory, and I absolutely love this view. I rent my apartment, I do not own, and I do have pets. This is Harlow. This is my #1 girl, so any guy that I meet is gonna have to compete with this one, and let me tell you, she's a tough cookie. She doesn't just love everyone, but she really does. Okay, so this is how things get really dramatic in my household. This is my trick with my dog. Oh my god! Oh my god! Help! 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 Oh my goodness! Oh my honestly, goal, find a man that loves me this much. So I am a digital marketer and a content creator, but all within the realm of health and wellness. So I grew up with a strong grounding in health and wellness. My dad's a doctor, my mom works in more holistic practice environment, and I just have such a love for health and wellness because fitness is an escape for me, and I just love how it feels to nourish and fuel your body. So I took that knowledge and that passion, and I've created my own business where I host a bunch of local wellness events, bringing the community together in just a way to empower and uplift each other and instill confidence in one another in a very approachable way. So I have definitely been in love. Ever since I was little, I've been extremely boy crazy. I was chasing boys on the playground, writing about them in my diary every day. But aside from, the random crushes I had in high school and college, I've really had one serious boyfriend of 3.5 years. We met right after college and we lived together and had a dog together, and unfortunately we just grew apart. I kind of evolved and found myself in a way, and once I did that, we no longer made sense. We lost the spark, and unfortunately it just didn't make sense for us to stay together. But that ended kind of a while ago now, and I am so ready to move on. I know exactly what I'm looking for in a relationship, and I'm very open to love and super excited about that. So I really love any dates that kind of strip you down, where you're in more of your natural state, where you can be really comfortable with one another. So I am all for a spa date, even a yoga date of some kind, and would also love a cooking date. I love to cook, but if a man can cook with me, then that is top notch. And my celebrity crush is without a doubt Jake Gyllenhaal. I definitely have a type, but that doesn't mean I'm not open to other things. So my family is really small. I am so close with my mom. She's my absolute rock. She knows everything. I've actually been watching The Bachelor with her since I was really, really little. I would watch it in bed with her basically until I fell asleep and my dad had to carry me into bed. I also obviously have a father. My parents are no longer together, but I'm close with my dad as well. I have an older sister who, quite honestly, is the polar opposite of me, so we aren't super close. But if I went to hometowns, you would likely meet my close relatives, obviously, as well as aunts, uncles, and some cousins. But it would definitely be a very female-forward, a lot of strong-minded females, in more of a tight-knit, comfortable environment. I would definitely want to show The Bachelor what I'm about and what a day-to-day life looks like for me. So I think first we would start by going to a local spa in Philly, whether that's a yoga studio or SoulCycle, see if you can keep up with me, and then meet my friends who live in the city for brunch. I think it would be so much fun for them to all get to know each other, and they're definitely people that are really honest with their opinions. They're really rational, where I'm definitely more of an in-the-clouds, spontaneous type of person. And then after that, we would head into New Jersey and meet up with my family for dinner. It would be so much fun. I am dying to go to Bora Bora and be in one of those villas someday. I dream about it all the time. It's kind of on my vision board. I would also love to go to Bali and do more of a spiritual retreat. And out of all the places I've been, I would say that Italy is my absolute favorite. I studied abroad in Florence for 4 months in college, so that's a place that's really near and dear to my heart, and I think it's super romantic. Okay, so my favorite hobbies are definitely working out, since it's such a great escape for me. I love yoga, I love spin, and I love weight training, as well as cooking. I absolutely love to cook every single day. It's something that doing by myself in my apartment gives me a lot of comfort as well. So this is what I wanted to show you guys in terms of what I usually cook. So I throw together a lot of salads and bowls. I cook things in advance and then mix it all together, and I never refrain from using avocado. I know I sound really basic when I say that, but it really is the best food, and my little secret to making things look prettier is always microgreens, which are super, super high in nutrients too. So then I love to practice self-care. So this is an ice roller. It is literally the best thing ever, and I am telling you, it would do wonders in the Bachelor Mansion, especially after late nights or late dates or long rose ceremonies. It needs to be in the fridge. I'll bring it with me. And then as far as special talents go, I am very double jointed, so my fingers do this, so look away if you're afraid. And then my go-to party trick is actually how I can make these fingers do the moonwalk. So while I might not be able to do this move, my fingers can. And then my legs are hyperextended too, so if I'm like laying down, they bend upwards. So I'm basically a freak of nature, but you wouldn't know from the outside until you get to know me and I really show you every part of me. So So I am definitely in a place in my life where I am looking for my soulmate and looking for the one and ready to get engaged, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. I am a complete open book. My heart is open, and I am so hopeful and excited to take this journey on The Bachelor. And I will always say yes to every rose. ABC, I'm ready for your next Bachelor! That is it. I really did think for a while that I was gonna be on the show. Being told to plan on being in LA and not having a boyfriend, I definitely was thinking that I could be in LA, and when people were asking me about things in October, I was like, heads up, I might not be here. Like I definitely had gut feelings that it could happen, and then by the end I kind of just didn't know if I even wanted it anymore. After 5 months had gone on, I just was ready to move on with my life and have control over everything again, and I'm so happy it worked out how it was meant to. I had so much fun in the process. I would definitely recommend it to everyone, but it wasn't for me, and I actually ended up having like the most emotional month of my life in September when I would have left for the show, and knowing that I was here for that, to go through that on my own, just makes it so much better, so much more worth it. I would definitely say for anyone planning on being on the show that my advice would be to be yourself, to definitely plan on like saving up if you think your chances are high. I ended up getting like spray tans and blowouts and stuff for the audition process, which looking back on it was like so extra of me. But obviously you need to like prepare to like live out of your suitcase for 2 months in various climates if you get on the show. I would also say, and make sure you have a friend nominate you, whether it's 1 or 2 friends, that gets their attention so much more. I would also say do your best to be present. It gets really difficult to live your life when you're kind of on hold for something else, but looking back on it, I think I let that happen a little too much. Come July, I was like ready to be present again, and once I did that, I felt so much better. So definitely don't put your life on hold until you need to, because that won't happen till the last minute. You also don't know who the Bachelor will be to the end. At the audition, I asked them and they said they don't know till the 11th hour themselves. So I think that the cast members find out when the like a whole country does. But yeah, that would be my advice. Just have fun with it, take it more lightly. Obviously know that things can shift and change at any moment. It's very up in the air. They, I think, don't know themselves, which is why they kind of instill that confidence in you during the process. But then obviously more people audition as it goes on, and they find some better fits for the cast, a more dynamic type of like character. I honestly think that I might not be out there enough, but I hope this is helpful. I hope this was fun for you. I will share the video. It was really fun for me. I'm really glad I did it. It was something that I was just kind of curious about from being a fan for so long, and I'm so happy now with how everything worked out. It's funny, I said to my mom that I hope that if I don't get on the show, I at least have a boyfriend by then. And I was like, what are the chances that happens, right? A few months ago I was like, I don't know, like was that realistic? But it is, and I manifested that, and it's so much better, and I'm so happy, and now I can just watch the show without pressure and have fun with it. So happy Bachelor Mondays, they're back. I hope this was insightful and fun for you. Obviously I didn't get to that final step in LA, which would have given you a little bit more insight into the process, but I know that that's when it gets down to like 40 people or something, so that's like super down to the wire. I don't know how many were left in the state that I got, but I got to the step before that, and I am very happy with how it all worked out, and it didn't feel like a kick in the ego or anything like that. It was just kind of like a part of my life that I explored, and it didn't happen, and it didn't happen for a reason, and now it's all come full circle. So I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video as well, and I will be back to vlog with some more things soon. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. I put all my info below.